Welcome to Rebecca Sounds Reveille. Are you ready for today's show? Well, I hope you are, because I have been just so excited about our guest today. He is a former ER paramedic who is known across the country in all kinds of emergency rooms, helping people, just hundreds of patients overcome different challenges and get the right treatment. And he is now a very prolific actor who is known, you probably already know him, but he is known for his roles as Eddie Thomas, who is a homicidal killer, in the horror film Retribution Room. Let me get that, roll it off the tongue, Retribution Room. And he is also known for his role as Carl, who is a lonely drifter. I kind of like that. I get a kick out of that in the film Tybee. And he is also known for his role as a Detective Peter Angel in the film Psalm. Lots of really cool things that we're going to be able to talk about just on those three alone, but that's not all. He was really inspired to become an actor when he was studying at the Beverly Hills Actors Workshop. He has also studied at the very prestigious ACT Workshop. And I've got to tell you, we're going to have him back on the show to discuss his upcoming films that will be adding to his repertoire, FireFighter2 and Ladybugs. And we've got a mysterious, well, we're not going to unveil it, but there's some hints that we're going to be dropping for you today. You're going to love it. A little tidbit for you. He is an avid horseback rider, and he is a lover of exploring new and exciting restaurants. So if you're a foodie, you're already making a connection just in that alone. Welcome to the show, Richard During.
Thank you.
I am just excited. I know the audience is going to be too, because there's so much that you are doing, and you are quite prolific. The films that you're doing in upcoming is just incredible. And I want to talk, before we get to that, about the things that you have already kind of mastered and that's already out there. So super exciting. Can you tell me what brought you, when you were studying at the Beverly Hills Actors Workshop, to just really go out there and pursue this?
Well, I just, it's in my blood. I mean, I loved it, ever since I was a kid. I used to play in the backyard and everything and pretend all kinds of characters. And I decided to get into the Beverly Hills Actors Workshop when I was about younger. And I went there for 3 years, and I just fell in love with acting. I mean, that's all I do. I mean, I live it, I breathe it, I sleep it.
Yes, you have quite a passion for it, and you're really good. I mean, just really good at what you do. And was there inspiration from your mom by any chance?
Yeah, my mom was a model for Studio 7 back in the 60s and the 70s. And
I love it.
She kind of inspired me, and she gives me a lot of support.
This is pretty neat. And so, I think too, the experience that you have, especially working in the ER, the field as an ER paramedic, you have met so many different types of people. And I know that with the passion that you've had, you've been able to embrace some of these different personalities and sort of morph them into some of the characters that you have practiced, that you have even more so. Because I mean, if you've been doing this since very young, I mean, we go through these things in our mind, different scenarios of characters and things that we want to portray. And it's pretty neat to think how many different types of people you've run across through that alone.
Oh, yes. I mean, I've ran across a lot of different people and different acts of life, and, I lived in Georgia for a while too. And I acted out there in some films, and and then I worked in the hospital there too, East Georgia Regional, and during that time I would do acting when I can get the chance, because I only worked like 3 hours. It was a great deal, because I worked 3 12-hour shifts, and I was off 4 days a week, and I can go act.
Yeah, that's nice.
Now I retired from working, and I'm a full-time actor.
I love this. I absolutely love it. And I want to thank you for dedicating so much of your life to helping others. That's such a passion that I personally have. And I just get so much joy when somebody else shares that as well. So you're going to take it now to giving people joy through your work in film.
Yes, express my emotions and my passions to people to like, to like my films and like my acting.
I think that this is really exciting, and you are just continuing to immerse yourself in the field. You've got a lot of things coming up, especially here next year, where you've got FireFighter2 coming up.
Yeah, I don't know when that's actually going to film. It's kind of like, it's going to be kind of like a film that they did, like, have you ever heard of Modern Family or The Office? It's
Yes.
that type. It's kind of a different type of filming. And I think it's going to be very exciting. It's almost like a documentary and a film together.
It's interesting that you share that, because this seems to be something that's trending right now, almost sort of a morphed reality, but it really has a basis in the trend right now. Not a reality show. This is the real deal. And that's what I love about documentaries.
Yeah, it's kind of like real life.
Yes.
Not actual reality, but kind of like the sense of The Office or Parks and Recreation or Modern Family. It's kind of like, real, like it's happening right then and there.
I love that, because for me personally, when I can relate to things that I see on screen, I'm drawn in, because then I'm able to sort of go inward and use my own imagination about if the things that I'm seeing could actually happen to me, and how would I respond, and would I find that person's personality humorous or sort of abrasive. And you get into that set almost as if you're there mentally. And that to me is just, that to me is, I don't know, it's more absorbing for me than any other type of film.
Yeah, it can be.
So that allows me to use my creativity if I can't be there myself doing it. So, and so how about Ladybugs? You have that coming out in 2022 as well.
Yeah, by next summer.
By next summer.
Yeah, I was, the director really wants to work with me. He says he wants to work with me. He says he's just thinks I'm a great actor, and it just. So Ladybugs is, I don't know that's the whole story, but I'll be playing another killer.
Okay. I'm going to ask you something about that in a minute, but do tell.
That's all I know so far.
That's all you know so far. So let me ask you a question.
I don't know the storyline yet.
Okay. So just knowing the role that you're going to have, and that you've already done that in Retribution Room. So do you like that type of role, or you're just versatile, and a lot of roles are things that you find fascinating?
I'm kind of versatile in a lot of roles, but I do play, not a lot of roles. I mean, my brand is kind of like that. My brand is kind of like a villain type or cop type, bad cop, those kind of lines.
Yes.
Detective.
So do you think that there's still the stigma of being typecast in Hollywood now, or even Atlanta? I mean, that's anywhere they're doing filming, but do you think that stigma is still there? Or do you think that those in the industry now are really open to people playing a lot of versatile roles?
Well, it probably just depends on your personality, I imagine. I know I keep hearing about typecasting though, because about this, when you're branding yourself, kind of at the beginning, you're trying to brand yourself so they get to know you, and then later on you can branch out. But right now, I'm just trying to get myself to a point where a lot of directors and CDs start knowing me out there.
Yes, and it's exciting that you say that because, well, now that there's so many different streaming services available, you can go back and watch movies and TV shows from way back, and you'll find actors that are in a current role. And 30 years ago, you will find them in a role that is very similar to that. And so
Oh
they have
yeah.
sort of stuck with that throughout their career.
Yeah, kind of like one is Sam Elliott, you know.
Yes. Yes.
He's like the
Yes.
Western guy, you know. And actually, he's coming out on a new show on Paramount Plus, 1883. It's going to be a wonderful film.
That is
Wonderful
going to be
show.
a wonderful film. He's a great actor. And so let me ask you, have you had an opportunity to see different types of, I mean, especially since you had done some things younger, between theater roles and on screen? And is there a preference for you?
Well, I really like being on screen. I've done some theater. I've done like 4 or 5 plays in my career. And City Lights and Death of a Salesman and a couple other ones.
How fun.
Yeah.
How fun.
And but I do, you know, it's good. I mean, you know, it's good to do plays. I mean, you know, but I like the film. I like being behind the camera. I mean, in front of the camera, not behind the camera, in front of the camera.
Yes. Yes, I can understand. I think that there's so much more demand on your performance when you're in a theater versus on screen because you're delivering it, you're live, you've got to project, you've got to over animate with certain different things. Whereas when you're on screen, it can go to post production, get edited, you can stop a scene, take 5, take 10, whatever the case may be to get it right.
Yeah. I've done a lot of background work too when I first started out to get to know the set, get to know the people on set, watched a lot, you know. And then I went from there because I don't do too much background anymore. Once in a great while, I'll do a piece. If it's really a nice piece that I'm really interested in it, I'll do it, you know, just for the fun of it. Like I did 7 episodes of what was that show? Underground in Georgia as a doctor.
That would be fun.
It was fun, but there was no dialogue. But I had some featured parts in it. And I just learned a lot on set, you know, that I can put to what I do in my acting.
So would you say for those that are watching and for those that are listening that are trying to pursue their dream, especially if it's in acting, but would you say really taking the time to sit back and watch whatever field it is that they're going into, to sit back and watch and learn all the different avenues that a particular profession has and what might be of interest for someone to narrow down or hone their skills in?
Yeah, I believe that's definitely, you know, because a lot of people learn by watching.
That's a good point. Yeah, there are people who are auditory, that some people are visual, and there's some people that are doers. And I think that that's a really good point. And so 2 things really, if someone were going into acting, they could absolutely go in as a background and see the set, learn all of the dynamics on how that goes. I mean, just being even on one show as a background, you learn so much. And the second thing is, if they were going into, say, emergency services, someone could go in as a ride along and sit back and kind of watch what's going on, and then sort of
it's just
assessing.
Yeah, observing, assessing. That's all it is. I don't put background on my resume because it's not an actual dialogue role, so I do not do that. But I do it to observe, to learn how they work on a set, and how the ADs work, how the cameramen work, all the aspects of the acting set.
That makes so much sense. Let me ask you, did you start your career as a background before you took the workshops, or was it during
No,
and after?
it was during and after. When I first started with the Beverly Hills Actors Workshop, I didn't know what I was even doing.
What's happening to me? Yeah.
That's been quite a few years ago. And back then, usually your acting coach was kind of a mean guy, you know. He kind of made into you all the time, you know.
Chop chop. We need to.
Yeah, tougher back then than it is today in acting class, I think.
I think you're right on that. There is a lot of dynamics that were a lot more rigid compared to where they're at now. I mean, is submitting your reels and just getting online is so much easier to make connections than ever before.
Yeah, from before. Because when I first started, I was back when I did headshots that were black and white. You know, not color.
Yes, yes.
But they did have a classic look to them, I have to admit.
I do like black and white pictures. I definitely can see so much of the features that people have because of the contrast and such. But
well, they look really theatrical.
They do.
Yeah,
they do.
But then color came about, and now everybody uses color.
That's true. That is so true. Do you like doing in-person auditions, or do you prefer them
self-tape?
Yeah, self-tape.
Well, I haven't done a lot of in person lately because of COVID. Most of them have been self-tape.
Yes.
But I like self-taping because you can actually do it over and over and over again until you get it the way you want it to look.
You know, that is a really good point. That is a really good point, as opposed to when you go in and you have several people that you're auditioning in front of, you get that one chance and that's kind of it.
Yeah, that's the one chance, you know. You don't want and you don't want to really start over. You want to just, you know, if you flub up, you just got to keep going.
That's true.
You know, just keep going with the lines.
I think something else to share with the audience is that, and that can be in any arena, if you make a mistake, just hold your head up high and keep going on. When you stop and focus on sort of the error, people tend to sort of stay in that mind frame. But if you keep going on, they go with you.
You don't want to say, can I start over? That's like the worst thing to say, I think.
Yeah, little tricks.
Just go with the flow.
Go with the flow.
Yeah, go with the flow.
I love it. I absolutely love it. So let me ask you, do you have some other things that you have in the works right now?
Well, like I said, I got those 4 films. I got another talk show tomorrow night.
I love it.
I got, at the first year, I'm going to have new headshots done. I was wearing a beard for a while. I thought maybe that would make really show me as a, you know, villain type guy, but people liked it
sort of so like tapered into.
No, it was just regular. It was nice and clean, and I don't know, you might have saw some of my pictures with my beard on Facebook. I don't know.
I do pay attention to all of that, but for those that are watching and listening, they've got to get on board with what you've got going on, because you are really trying to make sure that all of the different looks are out there, because you can do so much. You're such a versatile actor, and the things that you're doing, going from being a villain in a horror film to a lonely drifter, it's very different.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about the role as a lonely drifter, because I think that's kind of
that was a role that was done on Tybee Island. It was about a guy that it was about 2 boys, really. I would just have a little tiny sporting role in it, and I was just drifting, looking for my. It was kind of like a what do they call that? A flashback. It was a flashback of me being older and when I was with my friend that was missing on this island.
Ooh.
And the only thing that washes up on the island is the spirits of the dead.
Okay, that's kind of interesting. It's sort of creepy.
Yeah. But it was a fun project to do.
That would be a fun project. Now, where did you have to go to film that?
We filmed it on Tybee Island in
So,
Georgia.
oh, okay. A lot of
Yeah.
people don't know that there's so much, there are islands out in that area.
Oh yeah, there's lots of islands.
There is. There is.
There's a small islands like Skidaway Island, Tybee Island, Wilmington Island,
Jekyll
Island.
That's
a little ways down though. But there's
most people don't think of Georgia as having islands. It's kind of just sort of thought of as
it's pretty much to the marshes, to the.
How long were you there to do that?
How long did I live in Georgia?
How long were you on Tybee?
Oh, I was only there for a couple of days.
I bet that was just fascinating.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
But I lived in Georgia for 13 years. So. But I was raised here in California.
Raised in California. What do you say is better? I mean, as far as cost of living, demographics, all of it, which do you find, I don't know, more appealing?
I love LA.
Love LA.
Yeah.
You can take the kid out here.
Actually, as an actor, there's stuff out in Atlanta, but it's a smaller market in LA. LA, New York's, the number 2, or the biggest markets.
Yes.
And, but yeah, there's stuff out there. I mean, but I like being out here. My family's here.
Yeah, family's important.
Yeah. Actually, all my family's here.
You have another project coming up. It's very mysterious. We're not going to be able to share a lot of details about it today, but it is coming up this next year, and I'm excited for you.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a good one.
It's gonna be a good one. So if somebody wants to stay on top of the things that you are doing, they want to follow you, they want to see your films, what is the best way for them to connect with you and stay abreast of everything that you've got going on?
They can Instagram, Facebook. They can go to my Actors Access. They can go to my Backstage. I got profiles on all those.
You're pretty active.
My MBD.
You stay pretty active on social media. I think that this is fantastic. I know that your fans are going to really enjoy the things that you have coming up this year. It's pretty exciting. I cannot wait to have you back on so that we can share with the audience the mysterious project that you have coming up for next year, because I think that everybody who is just getting bits and pieces of what you've got going on are just going to be as excited as you are for having done the film. And so, yeah. So we are going to have you back on here sometime towards the beginning of the year so that we can see if there's any more news on that or what you can disclose to us, because I think the audience is going to be jazzed. Like I said.
I know these firefighters coming up soon, but the other 2 are not going to be till probably in the summer of 2022.
That's okay. We can get the popcorn ready.
Yeah. And in the meantime, I'm trying to find more gigs to do. Actually, I just had an audition yesterday.
Oh, this is exciting.
Yeah, I did an audition yesterday called Pay the Lady to play a rich yacht owner, and kind of like a sugar daddy to a girl. And it's like the guy comes in and tries to steal the yacht and my girlfriend.
That seems like it would be a fun role.
Yeah.
Are there a lot?
I do a lot of auditions. I mean, I get a lot of auditions. I mean, I actually auditioned for I auditioned not too long ago for American Crime Story.
Ooh.
And that was to play Monica Lewinsky's father in the impeachment. I didn't get the role.
Well, I bet that was fun though,
But I got
because
the
that's,
audition, so I was pretty happy
yeah,
to get an
absolutely.
audition like that. Yeah.
That's a big, yeah, that would be a very significant audition. And so hopefully you were able to network while you were there and make some contacts, because that is going to be a really, like you said, that's going to be a great role.
Well, the way I look at things is, every audition's an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you don't get the role, it's not about the role. It's about the connection. The more auditions you do, the more people get to know you. They start seeing your face. They start to know you. The CD say, "Oh, I've seen that guy. He did this audition for me before."
Yes, and you can really just hone in on your skills the more auditions you do. So this is something that I want to share too with the audience, because if you're not in acting, what we're saying is things that you can do that's just as significant in other professions. So for example, an audition is the same thing as an interview. So go to interviews, continue to go to as many interviews as you can, because you're going to really be able to hone in your skills, sharpen your interviewing tactics. And so,
you're so right, because audition is just like a job. It's just like a job interview.
mm-hmm.
And then when you don't hear from them, that's a rejection. They say, "Oh, you get so many rejections to be an actor." Well, yeah, you get a lot of rejections, but the rejection is you never hear back from them, just like a job interview. You go to a job interview, you don't hear back, they rejected you.
Yes, and that doesn't necessarily mean that
it's not like you get yeses and nos.
Yes, but I want to say too that oftentimes people go, well, I didn't hear anything back, so there must be something wrong with me. And that's not it. It's just there's a lot of candidates out there.
Oh yeah.
And so they have to find out what is the best person that's going to fit that role, whether it's a role in a film or a role in that particular arena of, I don't know, as an ER doctor.
Yeah.
I mean, there's going to be, if you're I don't know, if you're a podiatrist, you're not maybe necessarily going to be on call as the ER doctor. So like that doesn't mean you're not good at what you do. It just means that particular avenue, somebody else might have sharpened skills just a little bit more so. So we shouldn't be taking things too personal all the time. Like you said before, though, instead of just saying, "Hey, can I do this again?" Just move on and keep going and pursuing.
And keep going. Never give up.
That's right. Never give up. I love it.
That's the motto.
I love it. I want to thank you for your dedication to helping so many people. And then continuing to do this. And I want to thank you for everything that you're doing in your career in acting and film, because you're going to bring a lot of joy to people internally with your presence on stage and in film and everything that you do in this industry. And I also want to thank you for taking a few minutes for us to get to know you today, because I think that this is really exciting when we get to make a connection with an actor and then see them on screen. And that stays with us.
You're very welcome. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure coming on your show.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so glad. I am just so glad to get to know you. And I know that the audience is too. And so again, they can connect with you, Richard, on your Facebook, on your Instagram, IMDb, Actors Access, Backstage. And
Casting Networks.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And if you happen to know of any roles, definitely send them out to us. So thank you so much for being with us today.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes. I love it. You're coming back in a couple of months, because we got to find more about your mysterious, this mysterious film. So everybody get ready for it. I want to thank all of you for tuning into another episode of Rebecca Sounds Reveille, where we are absolutely delighted to have you connect with people that you may know that you didn't have a chance to get that little insight with, or those who now you do know, and you can go on and connect and be able to follow them in their journey and listen to the things that they have shared with you that are going to impact your life and make a difference. Because really, that's what this show is all about. I ask that you share this with all of your friends, your family, your loved ones, everybody you know on social media, and everybody that you don't. Thanks for tuning in.